Now that another day has passed, do you believe that it's now time potentially for the FBI to open an investigation into this?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Because you're the director of the FBI, you don't believe it's appropriate to comment on that?
Because there's a process in place, there's an ongoing litigation, and the National Security Council is reviewing this matter. And I'm not going to discuss any open or closed investigation.
That ongoing investigation, literally, the lawsuit happened today or yesterday afternoon, and the idea that you don't have an opinion on this at this point is frustrating to me.
No, it's not. I'm not going to prejudge any matters, and the men and women of the FBI will call the balls and strike.
Reclaiming my time,
not
sir.
you.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to have...
Gentlewoman's recognized. You have
Thank
4
you.
seconds remaining.
No, I have more than
You have
that.
2
because
seconds
Mr.
remaining.
Patel would not acknowledge
Gentlewoman's
me.
time has expired. Mr. Stubbe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Gabbard, were there any sources?
But if this information had gotten out, American lives could have been lost. Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into this.
Answer my question, ma'am.
As the White House previously
Is it classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Director Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
I was on a signal messaging group.
So you were the John Radcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I provide some context, Senator, to that? It's important because at the outset, you made a couple of comments about signal messaging using encrypted apps. One of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Director Radcliffe, I've got a series of questions. If you're making the statement, the signal is a secure channel.
No, can I answer that? It is.
I've got a series
end-to-end encryption. So to finish,
I understand encryption.
It is permissible to use to communicate and coordinate for work purposes, provided, Senator, that any decisions that are made are also recorded through formal channels. Right. So those were procedures that were implemented. My staff implemented those processes, followed those processes, complied with those processes, and my communications, to be clear, in a signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful, and did not include classified information.
Well, we will make that determination.
Goldberg's bad news. It's the Atlantic. It's failing. It's probably going to be out of business soon. And it's a terrible magazine. They made up all sorts of stories about me with standing over the grave of soldiers. There's nobody that treats the military better than me, and they treat me well too. They showed that in the election. But they write stories. It's such a disgrace. And there are plenty of others also. But Goldberg's a loser. His magazine's a big loser. And what it was, we believe, is somebody that was on the line with permission, somebody that was with Mike Waltz, worked for Mike Waltz at a lower level, had, I guess, Goldberg's number or called through the app. And somehow this guy ended up on the call. Now, it wasn't classified, as I understand it. There was no classified information. There was no problem, and the attack was a tremendous success. So I can only go by what I've been told. I wasn't involved in it, but I was told by, and the other people weren't involved at all. But I feel very comfortable, actually.
You were here to do. Nobody's texting war plans. Well, I noticed this morning, out came something that doesn't look like war plans. And as a matter of fact, they even changed the title to attack plans because they know it's not war plans. There's no units, no locations, no routes, no flight paths, no sources, no methods, no classified information. You know who sees war plans? I see them every single day. I looked at them this morning. I looked at attack plans this morning. You know who does attack plans and war plans? Men like that admiral right there, Paparo, for the Indo-Pacific, or Eric Kurilla, our general in CENTCOM. They do attack plans and war plans, and thank God we have those leaders who do it.
I thought it was a smear from the jump.
Yeah, still was a mistake.
Bad.
Still was a mistake, yeah.
But I thought it was a smear from the jump. It's just no way.
It's not as bad as we thought.
You
put the outsiders in the chat, man.
Yeah.
That's something you never do. Obviously, they was looking for a viral moment. It wasn't his fault, but somebody did mess up. Y'all put the ops in the chat, man. That's still a problem.
That is. So I still stand on whoever did that. should be fired.
Yeah. It's a real easily preventable mistake.
It is.
It was careless.
You're just very careless.
But at least it wasn't nothing vital. But what if it was?
That's why I was asking y'all yesterday.
That's
What
why
was
they
the
saying they
taking?
would never text that something vital like that in there.
Yeah, well, even though it wasn't vital, sorry. Maybe I'm a tough coach. Let them go.
Atlantic has now just published brand new messages from the Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and others from that Signal chat group that accidentally included a journalist. Peter Ducey is live at the White House for us. The acknowledgement comes from the reporter that Hegseth, Peter, said that nobody was texting war plans in response to the release of these messages by the journalists. You also had members of the security team in that hearing yesterday saying no classified information was shared in that group, which led the journalist to then publish this piece just moments ago saying, we faced a dilemma then because he said that war plans were indeed exchanged on this text. What are you hearing and what are we learning now?
Well, we have some more of the material that was being discussed on this chat. Pete Hegseth says no war plans, and let's show you what we have, and you can decide if this looks like a war plan. He texted the group at one point. At 2:10, more F-18s launch, second strike package. Then at 2:15, strike drones on target, all caps. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop. Pending earlier trigger-based targets, it goes on to explain F-18 strikes, and then he says more to follow. He says they were currently clean on OPSEC. We know that the Pentagon has more detailed imaging and coordinates than that. And there is no imaging or satellite photos or coordinates or targets listed here specifically. Okay. And so it would seem
concepts
that if you're going to fly F-18s and drones to take out Houthi guys, wherever it is that they're hiding out, the Pentagon has all of that information. So when they say there's no war plans, maybe they just mean that this text image did not include the full package of everything that they knew and everything that they could see and hear on the ground. But there is definitely some details, at least about timing, that is available. But the White House basically, or rather top national security officials basically dared the Atlantic to put this out. They sent Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe to the Hill yesterday to say there was nothing classified in here. Jeffrey Goldberg says that Caroline Leavitt emailed him last night suggesting that they did not want this material out there. But if it's not classified, it's not classified, and the Atlantic decided to go forward. So that's where we're at.
Well, so I stand on what I said.
It was concepts.
It was concepts of a war plan.
It wasn't a war plan.
He said at 2:45.
Concepts of an attack plan.
It was details from
not
the attack
good.
plan.
Got to get fired for that.
Yeah. Right.
You shouldn't get treason charges. We should be fired.
I don't know. It's kind of treasonous that the reporter released the text for an article for the public. That's treasonous to me. Like,
well, it's not classified.
I mean, it's still leaking sensitive information. If it was war plans, you put it in a article to smear the administration that you're not a fan of.
Yeah, but y'all sent it to my phone.
I guess, yeah, still.
No, he had to do that. I'm gonna be real. Like, he didn't have to, but he had to.
All right, well, something
something
has to happen.
He probably just got a big pay raise.
Good job, buddy. Great job.
Something has to happen.
Yeah.
But what happened? He sold that information to somebody.
That's what I'm saying. That's treason.
But it was already.
But we don't know that though, because it already dropped the bombs. It's
I don't know, man.
Whoops away.
I just think.
But we can all agree.
I just think if somebody in the administration messed up, yes, and it's still wrong on the reporter to try to get a viral moment out of this. I'm just not a fan.
So are we on the? Are you firing them or are you not firing them?
Fire them.
Wait,
I'm firing them. Are you firing them?
Yeah,
or you not firing
they
them?
fired him.
You gotta go.
So we all agree here. The Cartier family would fire his ass.
Yes. If you put Pete and a reporter in the group chat, fired.
Sorry.
Yeah, you tweaked out.
This is how I know God is real. Because I was literally about to go to a sleep doctor because I really struggled to sleep.
He was.
And then we actually just happened to,
ran across Beam.
Find out about Beam. And so I was okay, I'll try this first. And it has literally solved my problem. Like, I think the biggest keys here are what are the ingredients? We got the melatonin, the magnesium, and the theanine. All of those like combined, because I've heard of all these things separately. But when you combine them all, it's like you get in the bed and you feel like something's weighing you down. Like that's how you don't feel like moving. And then you wake up and
I remember you said that I felt like I sunk in the bed.
That's how I felt. Yeah, and it helps me relax my mind before I get to bed. So you can turn on some Cartier Family, lay down, hit the beam, go to sleep. All right, guys. So what you want to do is go to beam.com and put in the discount code Cartier, and that's gonna get you 35% off. That's not no little discount. That is a big discount, y'all. Beam is really blessing. It's a company that has value similar to ours, and they really just want to help. So 35% off with the code Cartier.
Well, a case of fraud was with the Small Business Administration, where they were handing out loans, $330 million worth of loans to people under the age of 11. I think the youngest, Kelly, was a 9-month-old who got a $100,000 loan. That's a very precocious baby we're talking about here.
Well, we're tackling the fraud, waste, and abuse in the agency. We've seen, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud go unprosecuted, so we're taking that on. We have a zero tolerance policy for fraud, and we continue to crack down on it and make sure people are held accountable.
That's amazing. And you have a lot of that. You found far too much of it. It's a pure fraud. We like to use the words waste and abuse because they sort of sound good, but many of these things are pure fraud.
Let me just add to that, and thank you. We just had a wonderful cabinet meeting, all aligned on certainly the effort to realign the government. But even at the U.S. Department of Agriculture, we've canceled a $300,000 contract educating on food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco. A similar contract we canceled in New York, again educating transgender and queer farmers on food justice and food equality. I'm not even sure what that means. But
they're putting the fruity stuff in our food so we can become fruity.
They're making the frogs gay.
That is damn near on that level.
Press play, bro. I need to hear more.
You eat fruity food.
Agriculture. We've canceled a $300,000 contract educating on food justice for queer and transgender farmers in San Francisco. A similar contract we canceled in New York, again educating transgender and queer farmers on food justice and food equality. I'm not even sure what that means, but apparently the last administration wanted to put our taxpayer dollars towards that. We canceled a $600,000 contract out of Louisiana that was studying the menstrual cycles of transgender men, a $600,000 contract. We canceled another contract out of a university in the middle of the country that focused on getting more diversity, equity, and inclusion into our pest management industry. Again, these are nonsensical. It makes zero sense to use taxpayer dollars to fund these. I know these are just a few examples of the hundreds and hundreds that we have found.
Well, PA has now canceled over $22 billion worth of contracts. $2 billion going to this NGO that Stacey Abrams was tied to. They received only $100 in 2023. And then the Biden administration gave them $2 billion.
Wow.
The director of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund saw his former employer get $5 billion. So $20 billion went to just 8 NGOs, and they're all pass-throughs. And then they were giving it to other entities. Many of them were pass-throughs. And what you have is the Biden administration gave them $2 billion. The director of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund saw his former employer get $5 billion. So $20 billion went to just 8 NGOs, and they're all pass-throughs. And then they were giving it to other entities. Many of them were pass-throughs. And what you have is all these extra middlemen, they're taking their cut. And the taxpayer ends up getting screwed. They're losing out on all this hard-earned money. They can't afford to have the federal government waste. The partnership with Doge and Elon Musk has been incredible at EPA. Their team is very talented. We wouldn't have been able to do it without them. And of course, this mandate from President Trump to make sure that we identify every last penny, whether we're saving $50,000, $5 million, or $22 billion. We will not rest until every last penny is saved. Thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to do this for the American public.
Wow. That's insane.
Nah, man. This is why voting matters, man.
That's insane. All these non-government organizations getting money and passing it off to other people. That's 100%
Finesse.
money laundering.
Finesse.
Like, they found a money laundering scheme with a government official's face on it. I mean, it doesn't get any worse than that.
Chase,
So I wonder if,
BOAs,
like,
tap in.
The amount of money like the Americans pay like in taxes, will that decrease over time? Like because of this, if like they're not doing as much.
Well, remember they said they're going to give $5,000 back to everybody who paid taxes.
Yeah, maybe.
Look in the ass.
As a taxpaying damn American, I stand for this shit.
Tesla shares are higher so far this morning. The automaker attempts to start the week in the green, and it comes after a difficult 2 months that saw Tesla shares drop for 9 consecutive weeks, its worst streak ever. Shares are higher here this morning by about 6%. Of course, a surprise town hall meeting that was taking place last week where Elon made a plea to, and not just employees, but also shareholders of the company to not sell their stock. And so that certainly was rattling through the mindset of some of the investors out there on Friday and perhaps over the weekend a little bit more.
And it does appear, in looking at the flows, that some of this is retail investor activity. We do have significant volume on Tesla this morning as well, so this has a little bit of conviction behind it.
Tesla shares are higher so far this morning. The automaker attempts to start the week in the green, and it comes after a difficult 2 months that saw Tesla shares drop for 9 consecutive weeks, its worst streak ever. Shares are higher here this morning by about 6%. Of course, a surprise town hall meeting that was taking place last week where Elon made a plea to, and not just employees, but also shareholders of the company to not sell their stock. And so that certainly was rattling through the mindset of some of the investors out there on Friday and perhaps over the weekend a little bit more.
And it does appear, in looking at the flows, that some of this is retail investor activity. We do have significant volume on Tesla this morning as well, so this has a little bit of conviction behind it. When you see this move to the upside of 6%, I mean, it continues to fascinate me covering this stock, because it is a company that does not tend to move on fundamentals, because we're about to talk to you about a company that beat out Tesla, leapfrogging Tesla's revenue. That was BYD. You would think that that type of headline, which is based on numbers and facts and fundamental news, would be something that would put pressure on a company like Tesla. But you have CEO Elon Musk telling investors to get in, investors to keep their stock, and you're seeing that exact action playing out in the price action today when it comes to Tesla.
Tesla will launch its robotaxi service commercially in Austin, Texas in June. That is when analysts are going to have to put into their models what a robotaxi service is. And it's a software as a service model. Very high margin, 80% plus for platform companies, whereas the electric vehicle is 15, 20, 25% gross margin. So we think that robo-taxis will account for 90% of the value of the company in 5 years. And we're on record saying we believe in 5 years the stock will hit $2,600.
I'm finna cop that ish.
2,600? No, that's crazy.
It's 200 right now.
It's gonna surpass
270
Microsoft
right now.
and all that.
Yeah,
Microsoft
70.
like 400, 500. Like,
I'm finna cop that ish. More and
Y'all
more.
think people
270
gonna put their
per
life
stock?
in a
lot.
robot hand like
It's a
that?
lot.
bro, 200,000.
You think somebody put their hands, their life in the
$2,000
robot hands
Right now,
Y'all do
today.
that? Y'all do that? Let the robot drive y'all.
Yes.
I mean, it's already doing that.
Yeah, we rode in his Tesla before.
They're already doing that.
Yeah,
that
but he
crazy.
can still, man.
I don't think it's that crazy.
Shit,
I mean, we ride roller coasters. You in a robot hand?
Literally.
but that's
You ever
different.
rode one?
That's different. Roller coaster is different than
Niggas
like-
down roller coasters.
Yeah, but you have a whole vehicle that's supposed to stop, go around. People wait. Imagine it's at a four-way stop. Four-way stop.
But think about where the technology gonna be in 5 years, bro.
I'm sure they tested it plenty
Planes
of
be on
times before they
autopilot.
gave it
You
to
ride
the
on a
public.
plane,
But somebody still got to land them up.
but it be on autopilot.
It just be cruising.
What if the autopilait break?
I don't know.
They can still fly it.
What if we run out of oxygen in here?
Come
There's
on,
a lot
man.
of what ifs, man.
There ain't no what if. I'm just keeping it 100. You having a machine controlling the driving on the road with human beings.
I mean, I get the iRobot, but hey, I don't care.
I ain't
finna
saying.
invest.
I'm not saying I robot. I'm just saying.
So don't get in it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that shit is scary, bro.
We gonna be the grandpas. We gonna be old. So I ain't getting in that automatic vehicle.
Surgically targeted to create the maximum pressure
on the White House to stop what the Wall Street Journal has described quite rightly as the dumbest trade war in history. An example of a measure that I will put in place as Prime Minister is 100% tariffs on Teslas. I think that should get some attention in the White House.
President Trump announced 25% tariffs against our auto industry. And this is a direct attack, to be clear, a direct attack on the very workers that I stood in front of, uniform workers I stood in front of this morning at the Ambassador Bridge. A bridge that is a symbol and a reality up until now of the tight ties between our two countries, ties of kinship, ties of commerce, ties that are in the process of being broken. We will defend our workers. We will defend our companies. We will defend our country. And we will defend it together.
If you make the trade war fair, then everything's straight.
I don't understand why they just don't comply. Like, why are you fighting? You're just a smaller country. You depend on us. Just comply. Stop making it difficult. Stop trying to show your people you got to fight. We're better than you. Comply.
They say Texas could be better than Canada. Come on, man.
Like, I don't understand why we're sitting here.
All they
got
to do is just get rid of all their tariffs, and America could get rid of all their tariffs.
We don't need them. Trump said it. They need us.
Just do what Trump said. It's literally that easy.
So they basically banned Tesla. All Tesla.
They're trying to retaliate. Yes, they're trying to make it harder on us.
They don't know how ugly it can get. Everybody need America to consume.
We don't buy anything from them. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think Canada definitely needs Tesla. I mean, we're literally right here. But I'm gonna lie, China, I seen some crazy electric cars over there.
No, we knew that. Trump even said that.
Trump has said that.
He did say that.
Yeah, they got something that's like
electric car
like
industry.
Lamborghinis.
No, I seen something. They sell an electric car for like $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy, guys. But hey, man, let us know what y'all think in the comments, though, guys.